Perfect. Welcome to Get Offset. My name is Emily.
And I'm Joan of Heart.
And that's our second take at the intro. And I think we nailed it this time.
Yes.
I nailed it. I
You
nailed
did.
it. And it looks like Ibanez nailed some pretty sick little electrics, but they're not technically guitars.
No, I was actually surprised in their 2023 lineup release. They actually released some instances of a few Shreddy ukulele models. I was surprised.
This shreddy ukuleles, like, oh my gosh. Like, so if you like 4 strings instead of 6, you kind of have a few options. You can play bass, you can play tenor guitar, you can play ukuleles, and um, options are kind of limited for both tenor guitars and ukes. And it's really cool that a major guitar manufacturer has released models that are appealing to, like, I don't know like what the base demographic for these is, but I
We can get into that. Yeah.
it's kind of chaotic from a like a distant perspective, because when you think about ukuleles, you think about like more traditional kinds
Of
of folk
course.
music,
Hmm.
or like Megan Trainor pitched all that song all about that bass on a ukulele. A lot of people write on them, like the
Mhm.
acoustics, but you don't really think about shredding on them.
From my, I guess, background, because again, that's mostly where I came from. So for me, bringing this kind of up is, yeah, for me, this is kind of interesting because, in the iterations of acoustic ukuleles, you kind of see them in more of like the way an acoustic guitar looks. Sound hole in the same place and everything. And when you get into custom models, that's when you start to see a little bit less of the traditional look, and you have more of the solid body look and the sound hole more on the side facing the player, different options. But whenever we saw, like, let's say Fender or someone, they would have the sound hole, it would have the shape, but there's still very much the presence of this is an acoustic ukulele. But with these Ibanez models, they definitely look like kind of a solid body look
Yeah.
of their other models that they have. One looks more like the Iceman, and the other one looks like the RG model. So, I mean, it has like the shreddy head, the metallic ice that they have on their paint. I saw it in one of the demo videos where the guy was showing it was all German. I have no idea what they're saying, but I was like, ooh, it really looks great with the light hits. It's a really beautiful pearl, kind of like a was it reverse sunburst, I guess? Like, or no, it is a sunburst, but yeah, more of a silver black variety, but really nice.
Yeah, I mean, I actually I know it's bad because I demoed one, but I kind of forgot that Fender did like the Jazzmaster and Telecaster shaped
Yep.
esque ukes. But yeah, they did do that. But again, they were electric acoustic, but still had very much an acoustic vibe.
Hmm.
My big question about those is like, what are the strings like? Is it still the traditional nylon string, or are there special strings?
With these ones, these have the Aquila Naya Black strings, and with ukuleles just in general, unless you are specifying wanting steel strings, which is very non-traditional. I have a ukatele, is what they're called, from a custom builder, Fanner Guitar Works or Fanner,
Hmm.
Fanner Works. But yeah, those instances are more geared towards 4-string ukuleles, more like a guitar kind of avenue, but usually, commonly, Aquila strings are usually on ukuleles in the G, C, E, A, and of course the string, which is the G, usually being a high octave. But a lot of players over the past, I would say, 5 years or so, a lot of people that are playing ukulele are playing more kind of rock styles or punk styles that need that low G. So that has now come into popularity of people switching out that high G for a low G to kind of play those styles of music. So I think with
Uh,
that kind of popularity, I've started to see certain brands going into this kind of, you want to kind of have a more like rock inspired looking ukulele. I've seen Vorsen, which is again, more steel string, but there have been over the past years iterations of wanting to have like a electric guitar looking ukulele for people that want to go down that kind of vibe but not be traditionalists.
Yeah.
Um, but
Plus,
this
I
is
would think that
interesting.
if you're playing heavier styles of music, you don't want as much air moving through that instrument either because
No.
that's just gonna cause feedback. So
Yep.
that's really fun, and, I've never really seen someone super duper shred an ukulele, but, you see people shred mandolins all the time, so that's kind of, like, similar-ish, more similar in, like, size overall, because ukes aren't big. They're
No.
kind of sit between, like, length, they're like a tenor guitar to mandolin sized,
Yeah.
and they're are they tuned what are they tuned like? I know
C.
very little. They're
Reenter
tuned,
and tuning C. Yeah. Standard.
but, like, in intervals, like, guitars are tuned mostly in fourths, and, tenor guitars are traditionally tuned in fifths.
I'm thinking that it's fifths or fourths.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
I
I know it by the other method, not by the intervals. You can look it up, yeah. Is it the
ukulele
fourths? It might be the fourths.
tuned in
Maybe it's fourths.
is it ukulele tuned in
Or
fifths?
is it
I
fifths?
mean,
Yeah.
it's the kinda thing where you can tune it however you
Yeah,
want.
you can. I mean, you there's
Um,
even there's another way to tune ukuleles, which I had at one point. It was like, I guess Canadians use it more. Can't remember what the tuning style is. Is it detuning? I can't remember. But yeah, I mean, it's just a different kind of flavor of tuning the sound of ukulele.
yeah. Yeah, and it just changes, like, how
Yeah,
chords look, how to play
exactly.
chords, which is a big thing. So it's really cool that they're enabling that certain kind of player to do
Hmm.
what they want. They're kind of up on trends and can see like that's what's so important about guitars and like how do I put this? Manufacturers need to pay more attention to what people are actually playing.
Yeah.
And I think that it's appealing to a niche, because I'm assuming that's still a small niche, is a really cool thing to do because it's
Hmm.
going to definitely make fans with those really, really dedicated groups of people. Like things like people who play tenor guitars, for example, are very gung ho about tenor guitars, which is funny, but they're a smaller community, so they talk with each other a lot more. They share ideas, and they tend to know each other pretty well. And you know, guitar communities as a whole feel a lot more segmented than that because you
Hmm.
have I think it turns into more like styles or body shapes that people get really interested in, like offset guitars. Offset guitar communities are a subset of the whole guitar community, and shreddy ukes are a subset of ukulele community and shreddy community.
Yeah, at least from my experience when it comes to ukulele community, when I was involved in it for the most part, there is the group of traditionalists that are more, obviously into the finger style or strumming styles of playing, Hawaii, the history aspect of it. Then there's the people that, are me that's putting, modern approach and takes, putting it through effects pedals. You have people that would be classified, I guess, as popular and shreddy fingerstyle players like Jake Shimabukuro, and you'd have, I think James Hill is another one. I don't know if he still is doing anything. Ty Main is very much a style of player that does kind of shreddy stuff. But again, more fingerstyle playing as opposed to like rock melodies. I would say Jake is more like he'll play rock inspired kind of music, but on a tenor style Kamaka ukulele, I think. I've seen him quite a plethora of times. Uses effects pedals and stuff like that. But there is this camp of traditionalist and non-traditionalist, and sometimes they don't get along.
Yeah.
So that can sometimes be a problem. The baritones obviously are like the bastard children of the group because the sopranos, the concerts, and the tenors are more the C tuning. That's mostly the style of size that people are playing in that tuning. And of course, the baritones are more kind of associated with guitars because they share the same tuning. And a lot of times, guitar players when they play an ukulele because they like the happy tone. I have met quite a lot of people who are guitarists, but they also play a ukulele as well. It's portable, it's easy to play, it's happy, you can pick it up, it weighs nothing. Like it pretty much, if you haven't played for a while, guitar, and you're like, hey, this is an easy way to get back into something, and it just gives an overall good feeling. And it's
Yeah.
kids, it's women, it's men, it's old, it's young. It does have a pretty good demographic, but again, like the guitar world and ukulele world is separate. I mean, they don't really intermingle much, and this is an
Yeah.
interesting kind of beginning of a blend, I think we're seeing.
Yeah, and I really like the part that you brought up that, like, a lot of different kinds of people play
Mhm.
ukuleles,
Yeah.
but despite that being the truth, I think it's still
Marketing isn't. Yeah.
widely associated, I think, with women and children,
Mhm.
and not
Or
quote,
toys. Yeah,
"non-serious"
or
musicians.
yeah, it's toys. Or I've always got when I was obviously playing, ukulele, I would get people come up to me and ask me, "Why aren't you playing a real instrument?" Like everyone still thinks it's a toy. Why don't you play guitar? And it would annoy me, obviously, because I was like, it still is an instrument. Regardless of
It's
what I am
very
using, it's still a vehicle for
yeah,
creativity and music. So yeah, you have that always, and there's not really
yeah,
marketing for it. I mean, even the marketing that you do see for these instruments, it's YouTube channels, people doing tutorials showing whatever the models are. But you don't really have
uh,
people like Fender. You don't have people like, big companies doing these big, marketing splash, like, here's our
mhm.
new lineup and models. Like, it's not in the same vein. It's
It's
not
not
as
yeah.
present in the public eye. Yes, so I agree with
And
you there.
and obviously there are builders who build very high-end ukuleles, but
Yes.
when you talk about,
Mono
like,
is one.
when you
Mhm.
say the ukulele is a toy, this is an instrument that was developed around
Yeah,
the same time as guitars. It was introduced to Hawaii in the 1880s
from the
based on
Portuguese.
Portuguese
Yep.
instrument, yeah.
Mhm.
So that's historically
It
significant.
is.
You can't say it's not a real instrument just because you don't take it as seriously personally.
Mhm.
Um, that it's like saying that DJs aren't musicians, like people who actually do like
Yeah.
turntablism is an art. It's not a game. It's not easy. When you look at like a really good DJ on stage by
Smooth
themselves or with a
transitions, yeah.
band, they're musicians.
Yeah.
And it's the same with, the voice as an instrument. Just for some reason, it's still seen, I think, largely because of the demographic that tends to gravitate toward it, which is, people with smaller hands or slight motor issues in their hands. I know people
Mhm.
who
Yeah.
have bad arthritis and can't play guitar, but they can play four strings. So
Yep.
they move to tenor guitars or ukuleles, often
Yep.
tenor guitars, because if you already played guitar, you're familiar with that.
No, I've
Um,
heard similar as well.
yeah, and it's fun to add instruments where you don't expect them.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty rock and roll, but I think that people, like, are often it's funny because it feels like it's the traditionalists who don't think
Yeah.
a ukulele is a real instrument or belongs in rock. I'm like, "Yeah, it's the same age as a guitar. It's a traditional instrument."
Yeah.
Um, but
Just using it in a different fashion. I mean, it doesn't take
yeah.
away from its history or its prevalence.
Yeah, I mean, you can like look at I think of the instruments that come out of Hawaii, like really popular in Hawaiian music, like there's the ukulele, and then there's the slide guitar, like the pedal, like I
Mhm.
think more like a
Lap steel. Yeah.
lap steel guitar,
That's what I think of too.
um, is is equitable. But like, imagine if no one had ever like heard the steel guitar from Hawaii and thought, "Oh, you can't apply that to country music."
Oh
Country music
god.
would never have
Wouldn't
sounded
be
the
what it
same.
is. Yeah.
No.
No.
So, it's exciting to bend these things because you never know if it could really connect and resonate and be, almost genre defining.
Exactly. It could
Yeah.
actually an introduction of an instrument that is not traditional to a style or form of music could actually revitalize or freshen it and take in a direction that may actually change the whole music,
Yeah.
I guess, genre as a whole. Like, I think it's actually good sometimes to inject something completely new and unorthodox, kind of a kick in the pants to like, hey, this is something exciting and new and we've never heard before. Wow, this is interesting. Yeah.
I mean, it's happened a lot of music, and it's responsible for basically every innovation within it. Is somebody saying, that thing that that's never really been done, or at least done well, in
Yeah.
this other genre. Let's
Yeah.
try it. Maybe we'll make it work. And I think it's
Or
really
it's
cool.
it's or it's like the rock and roll mentality of fucking I don't care what anyone thinks. I'm gonna do what I do. You don't like it? I don't
Yeah,
care.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty rock and roll. And again, like it's a great. Obviously, ukulele is a great writing tool.
Yes, it is.
I think there are a lot of instruments out there that are really good writing tools that just kind of get a
Yeah.
stamp of toy on them.
Mhm.
Um, the omnichord's probably a good example. Until I did my Q chord video, I didn't realize how many people actually recorded
Me
with
too.
omnichords and Q chords. That was really cool, like learning that minus the bear,
Yeah.
for example, using omnichord. Because I looked at it, I'm like, "Oh, this is really fun." I don't think it's quite a toy. I think it has more value
Mhm.
than, like, just a toy, um, from, like, a writing perspective. But just to be able to hit chords even if you don't have, like,
Any
the
knowledge.
strongest
Yeah.
working knowledge of music, you can still, like, put things together and kinda make sounds and maybe write
Yeah.
something kinda cool. Um,
I
but
yeah,
yeah.
I appreciated that it was accessible that way to people. And I have an original like vintage like 80s like omnichord. And
Yeah.
even like when I was, playing with it, I'd done like a stream where like people get on and we put it through my effects pedals and stuff like that. And that was a lot of fun. But yeah, thinking about ways in which you're exploring new sounds, new instruments. When I was looking at the omnichord, I learned about artists and musicians that used it in their music that I otherwise wouldn't even fathomed, and the
Yeah.
way they used it too. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting. Now I hear it now. When I
Yeah.
in music, I pinpoint, I was like, oh, that's an omnichord, or that's like, something similar.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know like, it's like getting a car, then you see that car everywhere kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, just being inventive and trying new
Mhm.
things, I think is kind
It's
of
great.
it's the most exciting part, I think, of what we do. Ha ha ha. Stupid phone.
Yep. Yep.
What I need to do is get a real webcam,
Well, I mean, the
but
Logitech Brio isn't bad.
I've been asking for one for a while, but it's just
Yeah,
it's a
I get
it's
you.
a it's it's a larger conversation
Yeah.
about working with people.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I think it's really cool. Like they're really I think they look great.
Yeah,
I
they
wish
look
I
great
wish
at
they did tenor guitars too.
oh, that would be
Maybe
good.
someday.
They did
Really
have a nylon guitar that came out
mm,
too, I think, at the same time.
yeah, I tenor guitars that space in electrics is still
Hmm.
really dominated by Eastwood, and not to say anything bad about Eastwood
No.
because I think it's great that they're making them. I think that the strings are spaced too far apart.
Oh, okay, yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah, like
'Cause on a tenor
y-
guitar, it's more narrow, right? As far
it
as
should be more narrow, but to save money, they use like the same bridge on like a bass
ah,
guitar
I get you, yeah.
for a lot of the models. But the Astrojet, that's the one that I have, and they don't make it anymore.
Mhm.
It
Mm.
is the same spacing as the standard six string, like in the vein of like a Gibson
Oh, wow.
nut width, but just like 2/3 of it, not the whole thing. So yeah, that's one I play the most. I also have my where'd it go? It's back here. My my Fender tenor, which
That's awesome.
for I guess just wasn't worth it for them to make these. I think it was
Mhm.
probably like you have to do like, so you can't just like automate
It
all of it. Like you have to this is a different neck, this is a different
Yep.
body,
It's
different
completely
hardware.
different.
So
Yeah,
it's hard to make it scale.
yeah,
That's what I'm looking um, for a small market. And I
yeah.
guess they just had a lot of trouble making them and decided to not make more.
That makes sense.
But you look at the used prices on these things. Like these were originally like $800, and now you're hard pressed to find one for like twice that.
Oof. Yeah.
Like they're expensive.
Scarcity, yeah.
Yeah, because they got it right in a lot of ways, I think.
Yeah, one I guess as close as I have to something like that is I have a Pano. It's a was it a Nui, which is called it's a hybrid instrument that was made, which is a combination between the size of a tenor guitar, but it is a baritone ukulele with nylon strings and like two kind of metal wound. I think on the first two, like that gives the overall size, I guess, warmness of an acoustic tenor, but like yeah, it still has like the baritone kind of hybrid ukulele like same tuning. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I like when they do hybrids or other versions or modern takes on things to kind of push things in a way. But I understand at the same time, market wise, when you try to do this and you have another half of your, your lineup of your models, which are basically kind of easy to make those because you already have the necks, you already have all that for your demographic and market, and then you have the specialty item. And if it gets too difficult to make and not cost effective, yeah, I could see how they could be like in the long run, this probably wasn't the best. It's not possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's the
unfortunate.
sad, sad facts about
Yeah.
capitalism.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's okay. This is just a world that we live in.
No, of course. And
Yeah.
also one of the things to mention about these Ibanez ukuleles that yes, you can put them through your pedal board or plug them in because they definitely come. They are acoustic and electric. They pretty much come with
Mhm.
a preamp, onboard tuner, batteries, all that. So you're good with a
That's
pickup.
really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to do both like that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna actually look at them. I haven't even I looked
yeah.
at
Go
them when you
look.
posted them, I haven't really
The
looked
red one.
since.
The red RG one is like my favorite. I was like, that one's awesome. And the way that they did the sound port, because in custom ukuleles, a lot of people started to style them where the sound hole was more towards the slope or more towards
Mhm.
your face on the horn, I guess, of
Yeah,
the
that's
ukulele
that's for
for
personal hearing, yeah.
personal hearing of the instrument rather than projecting it outwards like the traditional sound hole. I like the way they designed it on this RG model as well. It's kind of like a slotted look, very modern. I really like that because sometimes people have like paw shapes, cute things, or like a circle there. But this is really nice, the modern take that they did on it.
Yeah. I'm just gonna Google Ibanez ukulele.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, they
Ukulele.
have traditional looking ones as well. I looked at their lineup, but these two ones this year
There
are
they
pretty
are.
much the more like guitar rock looking ones as opposed to the traditional ones that they have.
Yeah. I like the UICT 100 one. That's so funny looking to me.
Yeah, I actually when we were first looking at that, that was one of the things Carlos had said. It was like it kind of looks like Prince or like something like that Emily would probably
That
like.
horn.
Yeah, the horn. Yeah, he was
Yeah, but
like,
I hate being so fucking predictable.
yeah, we were looking and he was like, yeah, you would like the one that was like the RG, the Shreddy one, but yeah, Emily would probably like that one.
Yeah. Not
Yes.
wrong, Carlos.
No, no,
Definitely
no.
not wrong.
I'll tell him. He's got
Or
you.
for sure. So what's new with me is I played a show on Friday night at the Sunset in Seattle on bass. It was a great show. This guy
Awesome.
named Thaddeus and Thadalac opened up, and I had the Kathy Moore Power uh trio, I think Superpower Trio, backing him, and it was just really just such great musicianship. And then I talked to them after and they're like, yeah, we had one rehearsal last night. I'm like, wow, well,
Oh,
I guess it
wow.
was fresh.
Oh my
Just
god.
always impressed with the skill of those musicians. And then the lovely and talented Kim Virant played, and then we played. And I took off the brace for the show, and
Hmm.
uh it helped a little, like, because
Yeah, a little
if I was, as I did decide that, like,
restrictive. Yeah.
there are some songs I need to play with a pick, and I
Mm,
would have had to play so close to the bridge
yeah, it
to
would
not have
have.
it mute the strings. So I took off the brace, and I'm feeling better
Oof.
today, but I was feeling it yesterday. I was feeling it the day after the
I can
show.
imagine. Yeah. Poor
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, so the show was great. It was probably about half full, the venue, which isn't bad for a rainy ass night, like the first weekend
Oh, that's
after New
good. If it's a
Year's.
rainy
Yeah,
night, yeah, that's actually pretty good.
that's Seattle. It's a lot of rainy nights in the winter,
Well,
but
yeah,
still,
that's normal for you guys.
it was a really good turnout, good energy. Um, yeah, I had a really good time. I got some new in-ear monitors. I got the UE 18 sound signature. I actually got them the day of the show, so I was like charging all
Oh
my
my
wireless
god.
stuff, hoping hoping my new ones would come in because they get like I have the UERR, the reference remaster that they did in conjunction with Capitol Records
Mhm.
recording studio. I mean, and they're great. They're very flat though, and they don't get as loud, and that's on purpose.
Okay.
So I got the UE18 that has more headroom, and they sound so good. I got them in, and I was just pulling up title. Like I have the master quality recording title package and listening to songs I listened to 1,000 times, thinking like, whoa, there's a lot in the song I haven't heard.
Oh,
Like
that's cool.
a stat. Like I know we say it a lot, but like,
Yeah,
oh,
no.
these master quality recordings, and then you get like just like really, really nice earphones or headphones, and you're like, oh shit, I never quite understood that, like the effect being applied to one part of a vocal performance in the song. Like, oh, that's a
No.
phaser. I
Yeah,
always
I've
just thought it was distortion when I was listening to it as a kid.
yeah, I've never kind of had that kind of, like, experience. Like, when I was growing up, I just had the when you rock around the big head muffs kind of, like,
Hmm.
enclosed experience, but
Yeah,
I've looked at them over the years, but I have yet to have, like, an in-ear monitor kind of listening to music kind of experience, so I hope to
yeah,
in the future, to get that so I can have those kind of experiences,
yeah.
but the difference between the one that you had before and the one that you just got, did you notice a difference between the 2?
Oh yeah, that like the big thing is a lot more headroom.
Mhm.
There's a lot I mean, there's always gonna be a lot of clarity, and it wasn't quite as flat, like, it was in in certain places, like, the low end felt more present, not that it was boosted or
Yeah, it
anything.
didn't seem
Um,
bassy, it was balanced. Okay, I get you.
it was a really nice balance versus being just perfectly flat, which I think makes it better, for live music and then just kind of enjoying music,
Yeah.
whenever you want. Yeah, I think there are more drivers, and then let me actually pull up the
Yeah,
differences.
pull it up with the differences between the
Ultimate.
2, because 'cause I'd be interested. Because again, for me, when I'm mixing and recording, like, I'll have my monitors or whatever, but sometimes I'll go through my, Audio Technica, like, M40s, which is pretty much like a flat frequency to kinda, like, mix, but, I balance between the 2 just obviously so I don't have artificial coloring, so it'd be interesting to hear what the difference between those 2 are.
Yeah, let me pull these up.
Mhm.
Well, one other difference is these RRs, they only go to the first bin in the ear canal, and the IEMs go to the second.
Mm,
It makes them more secure, kind of in a different way. Like these kind of have to
okay.
lock into the kind of the folds of my ears a little bit differently. But UERR has
Okay, that's
three
interesting, yeah.
drivers. Those are the Capitol Recording Studio ones.
Okay, 3
Um,
drivers.
and then the 18 Plus Pro, which is what I got now, has six.
Ah, okay.
So,
I see.
even more clarity, more dynamic range, increased
That's
volume and headroom.
yeah, when I was kind of looking at the research and at times asked you about it and just another looking around, yeah, I saw the difference of numbers of drivers being the difference, obviously, not only price point, but the quality, what they were talking about and the
Yeah.
balance of frequencies. But it's interesting
Yeah.
when I hear you talk about the, I guess, distance in which in your ear it goes, like the first canal versus
Mhm.
the second canal. I wouldn't have thought of those things as far as. So that's interesting.
Yeah, it keeps them locked in a little bit better. It takes getting used to. Like, you talk about some speakers are like, "Oh, you have burn-in, so you have to play them for a certain amount of time before they sound good." This is,
Yeah.
like, kind of that, but for, like, just the comfort in your ears. That's why I just put them in and listen to music when I got them, so that I
Yeah.
could get used to. Because I was like, "Oh, man, that is pretty far in there." But it gets a lot more comfortable just as your ears get used to the
Okay.
sensation, to the point where you can't really feel them,
Oh, wow.
like, so it's just so people know who don't know, like, a traditional earbud that you buy doesn't have balanced armatures, it has a single dynamic driver. And that dynamic driver, that one, is responsible for all the lows, all the mids, all the highs, and it's not uncommon to kind of lose one for the others.
Hmm.
But with, having 6 balanced drivers or multiple drivers, even the base level Ultimate Ears has a separate high driver and a low driver. So there's one is just responsible for the lows. It's a normal earbud is jack of all trades, master of none,
Mhm.
and when you get into like higher quality earbuds or earphones or in your monitors, what you're often looking for is like multi-way crossovers, just different things that are responsible for different frequencies, so they can do that really, really well.
Nice.
And it just creates a lot better clarity. So I think, you know, UE Ultimate Ears, they kind of changed the game for in-ear
Hmm.
monitors. They're the ones you're going to see most in people's ears on TV and stuff. Their lowest level is $500, but I do think it's a good investment if you're playing a lot.
Okay, yeah.
And you will be absolutely shocked at how small of a venue you can get away with using in-ear monitors. And you probably will want to, because maybe they can just afford two wedge monitors,
Oh
one for the
God.
drummer and one for the front. Yeah, I played places like that before, and they could have done an IEMs via their aux outs or something, but they just couldn't. They didn't have the space
Mm,
or the budget to get multiple wedges. Uh,
yeah. I've
yeah,
had instances of like the house not having the right gear and having to sing
yeah,
sometimes without having something pointed at me to be able to hear myself, and that was so incredibly difficult. So I'm sure that would
yeah,
have been handy for me in those situations, because I just had to put one finger in my ear so I could hear myself and then be
yeah.
able to like sing.
I think that if anybody, like drummers and vocalists,
Hmm.
can really benefit from in-ear monitors, because drummers can like feed in click tracks so they can stay on beat.
Yeah.
And it's hard for drummers to hear, especially the bigger the room, the louder the room. They were literally invented for a drummer. Well, the company started for a drummer. Uh, Alex
I
Van
didn't know that.
Halen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Alex, he couldn't hear things over the crowd and over the stage noise. And if you crank up drum monitors, they start to feed into drum
Oh shit.
microphones.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Kind of bad
Doubling
sound.
and yeah,
And
clipping
I've
a lot
been
of
at
things.
gigs where that's happened.
Yeah.
Weirdly, I'm like, what is this weird boo 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 coming through?
Yeah.
And it's because the kick drum
The mic.
microphone or the
Yeah.
snare drum microphone was picking up the wedge monitor. Um, and then for vocalists, you just don't have to sing as loud.
Yeah. You don't have to strain as
Yeah,
loud just to hear yourself, or like do the whole like,
yeah,
stick the finger in your ear the whole time, which is not
yeah,
exactly, you know, um,
yeah.
germ
Save your
wise probably
hearing.
good. Yeah. Or save your
Yeah,
hearing. Yeah.
and you can pick exactly what you want, and it
Hmm.
blocks out a lot of other noise. So you can, like, I just had the kick drum, the singer's vocals, and the singer's guitar, and I had my
The fact
bass.
that you could pick is actually pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, the idea with wedges is that you can pick two, but you're not going to be able to, like,
No.
if the guitarist, and we all love turning up the volume on our guitars, turns them up to the point where you just can't hear what's coming out of the monitor as well anymore. Loud
Mm.
stages are just the bane of any sound person's existence, and
Yes.
most musicians. So yeah, I recommend people checking out just various kinds of in-ear monitors. I used, for the wireless system, I use the X Vive. I think it's the U2 unit or something, U4
Mm.
maybe. Works perfectly, just super easy, and there's 6 channels, so you can use them with up to 6 people in the band.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, that's,
No,
that's about all I gotta say about that, I
no, it's
guess.
good. I appreciate the topic because I have pretty much no experience with in-ear monitors, but I've been obviously trying over the last year or so doing research, but I know the price point is usually what kind of puts me off, or I get distracted by another
Yeah.
pedal.
I mean, you can get they're more
I
valuable
know.
if you're
In the
playing
long
live a
run.
lot,
Exactly.
and they are valuable in the long run, for sure. I mean, they're gonna save your hearing, so
Of
eventually.
course.
And I also got a set of custom fitted earplugs. So that was
Nice.
really cool. Yeah. Uh Ended up using those last night because I ended up going out to some shows last night. There's a woman
Mhm.
who's interested in hiring a lead guitarist, so I went out to see the music and I was like,
Nice.
I'll try.
That would be
Maybe
great.
I might give that one a go.
No, that would
So
actually be a cool experience if it
Rick
happens.
wants me to
Yeah.
stop adopting bands.
It's like, I don't have time to do things like Emily. Stop going out and picking up strays. I mean, bands.
I think I stole that from my friend Sean Crawford, who says like,
Yeah.
my girlfriend says I need to stop adopting bands. I'm like, Mm,
Do you?
you
Do you though?
know. Um, cool. What are we talking about next? Or what's new with you? Is that's what we're talking
um,
about next?
well, I mean, what's new with me? I guess for the most part, got through the new year. Just basically starting to get into the nitty gritty with the marshmallow demo. I took this week in any of my spare time to go over each of the modes. So
So
I
that's the
kind of
Alexander Petals
Yeah, the
marshmallow.
Alexander. Yep, the Alexander marshmallow pedal. Going through the modes, make sure that I understand them, and then
Hmm.
start to think about. I think over this weekend, the next couple of days, start to write up the storyboard, and just try to do it in such a way that I show the things that I liked about it, and I did actually like quite a number of things that I didn't see other people kind of demonstrate, and I think it's gonna be really fun with this one and looking at it in ways of, I guess, ambient guitar players.
Hmm.
Because with a little effort, you can do a lot of really interesting, cool things. If you have, let's say, your board full mix wet and you have everything in the loop playing, but now you want to introduce something new in a certain part of whatever you're composing, in which you're just playing a few notes. And let's say the RP mode is just introducing steps within the background and shifts, which you're controlling those pitches up and down in kind of a chord progression with maybe playing a few notes. It's really great, I think, for somebody that doesn't have a theory background and just for the most part fuck arounds and finds out, like it's so I think it's really going to be a fun way to explore this pedal. I already like quite a few modes in it, and yeah, so I'm basically in that half. The art prep and the marshmallow itself is pretty much ready for me to put the audio in and stuff like that. I just have to write it, and that's pretty much what I'm getting into next. And obviously, I was watching some cartoons and stuff like that because the pedal is going to have some, I guess, influences. You think Alvin and the Chipmunks, so I was watching some of that to kind of get some inspiration of personality wise, like for the characters. So again, just music wise, and also just starting to get in the phase of like, okay, we're going to get into the writing half now to explain how this thing works, because it does have an alternate function mode, which is behind the main, as to, you know, if you want to adjust things, there's a secondary function which gives you more control of things. So I think that's really good to do that. I don't think I'm going to do the normal way in which I did before. I'm still on the fence of how to do that half of showing the demonstration of these, because the way this pedal goes, just a standard looper kind of demo, I think I'm going to be more of a this is what I like. You know what I mean? This setting
Yeah.
and playing this. I don't think I can do that with a looper kind of thing. So I'll probably just still show the pedal, but it may be more of like I'll be playing off camera, but you'll obviously be able to hear that recording in that segment with showing the pedal of that sound. So again, I'm still in the processing of how to do that, but one half of it is done. And now it's just basically the writing personality and that part. And then I start recording my parts and voicing the character and then just kind of editing and piecing it all together. So I'm hoping to get all that done this month. Hoping, my life,
Wow.
doesn't,
Yeah.
life doesn't throw any, 2023 behaves the rest of the way.
No more.
No
No more.
more. No, not like 2022. Like, you stay there.
No.
You stay
Hmm.
there. I'm hoping obviously the rest of the year gets in
Yeah.
my, doesn't get in my way as much. But that's pretty much what's up with me. Just trying to focus on work and getting these type of things done, family kind of deal, and music.
Hmm.
So I've also
Yeah.
talked to someone already in collaboration of doing some work apart from this, and I want to, as far as like TikTok and things like that, to hopefully get more followers so I can do live there.
Yeah.
Doing
Go follow.
instances.
Go follow Joan on
Yes,
TikTok.
Joan of Heart, please. I want to do my voice singing little parts of covers through effects pedals. I figured
Mhm.
that'd be cool. And of course, you see the pedal board. It's me on top and then the pedal board below. So you can
Yeah.
see what part of my effects chain is being used. And I think that's also helpful for vocalists to see somebody using their voice and way through an effects pedal board. And I really do
Yeah.
want to separate. I do the animated demo channel, but I also, which is why it's Joan of Heart Pedal Playhouse, I
Mhm.
am still a musician and an artist separately. So I'm thinking having these platforms having a different version of what I do separately may be good. So obviously I don't get don't get creative
Yeah.
blocks, and I also have my feet in different aspects always. So that's my plan. Hopefully that,
Sure.
I'm able to do that kind of thing, but that's at least what I'm kind of starting to think about.
Nice. Yeah. That sounds exciting. I feel you on 2023 needs to behave itself. Unfortunately, I'm just
Oh no,
carrying
you came in.
I'm carrying bullshit from 2022 into 2023
Yeah.
against my will. Everything
Mm.
bad that has happened to me so far this year has been against my will.
Yes.
Uh I just want to be left out of
Me too.
narratives and issues and shit, you know?
I
It's
don't
just
yeah, I don't wanna be, yeah, in the middle of
yeah. 'Cause
um,
man, like, the last couple months of the year, there was just so much,
oh
like,
my god.
interpersonal stuff and then getting sick and then falling down. I'm like, I just I wanna be left the fuck alone a little bit when it comes to
Yes.
that kinda stuff. Like, man,
Oh, yeah, no, I
vibes.
feel you. I feel you.
Yeah.
We're on the
Yeah.
same page.
Yep,
Um,
yep, 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 yep.
the
But,
other thing I wanted to mention, and I know we're steering the topic away from me and this, there was a new invention that just came out. Um,
invention,
yes, a new invention for, let's say, a replacement of like your whammy bar or expression bar, however you want to call it.
vibrato, tremolo
Vibrato,
arm.
yeah, exactly. I go. It's a bar of many names. There was a collaboration with Rogue. Was it Rough Gauge, Mark Benjamin, and Humphrey McGee's guitarist Jake Sininger. If I say it wrong, my apologies. It basically is a kind of like a, if you think of a palm vibrato or like a style off the bridge in which you can kind of manipulate your guitar to have some sort of a vibrato that is less shaky and more in the frame of like a singer vibrato. You can use either your palm or your fingers to adjust. This came out of Jake playing for many years. He would always pick up the bridge himself because the bar would either be completely out of the way, no timing to grab it, and also would get in the way of his strumming or playing. So he wanted to have something that you could easily reach back and get, and it would hold the pitch when you would bend it, and it wouldn't be in a way that was shaky. I thought that was really interesting, that kind of easy install. Like you can install it, uninstall it, but it gives you kind of a control in which you're not just grabbing the bridge, and you hold the pitch while you're playing in certain instances without that kind of
It looks
kind of
kinda
shake,
like
like a shell almost.
it's
Yeah, it's
called the
interesting.
Jake blade, and
Yep, Jake Blade.
I'll be honest, I think that's stupid looking.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand kind of like instead of grabbing the bridge, having something that looks like a lever, I
Yeah.
guess, in a sense that you can grab for some people. It fits PRS, J&L, Stratocaster kind of style guitars for the most
Mhm.
part, which I guess people who play those studded guitars kind of like what they're going for is those kind of things. It is interesting to see new technology is the reason why, it's not something probably I would use. But I did find in watching his video and how he demonstrated it, the interesting kind of way of control that kind of way of a, I guess, expression control from your bridge that you can get if you
Mhm.
want to have something that's out of the way. So innovations I think are good, whether they look stupid or not. I mean, maybe someone will generate one that looks, not like that, but the just
I
the
think Layla City and, Max Heidemann of Heidemann Instruments already did
would have
that,
it did
though.
that. Okay.
Well, I just sent you a link. If you scroll down
Oh
to
yeah.
the second thing, the Tunatone Palm Vibrato, I know it's right now it's only for Tunatone Instruments, and I
Yeah,
don't
I
really know
saw
how you
that
install it
one.
in post, but, like, it's just a bar that you push down on, and it kind
Yep,
of
I
seems like
saw
the
that
same
one.
thing. Yeah,
I thought that
but
was pretty cool. This one installs like it looks like it just attaches to the bridge.
yeah, it definitely has that benefit going for it.
And
But
I think introductory, I think it's like just $99.
yeah, it's so pretty. That's pretty affordable. But I still think,
Yeah,
does it
it's
have to
you're
look
like I
so
can't get
goofy?
past the look.
Well, my question
Yeah.
is like there are those takes on B benders that attach to the bridge of the guitar. I'm like, why can't it just be like that one a little
Hmm.
bar hanging out that you can
Oh
just
yeah,
like a
that would be
short one like
cool.
that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that that would just bend that one string. Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah, because people have
Somebody do
those.
that. Somebody do that. We want that.
Yeah, I don't know if it'd be an issue with like tension because
Yeah,
I also look at that and I don't know if it's that my wrist is in a
consider
lot of
it.
pain right now, but I'm thinking about like how much
Somebody that
tension.
has wrist carpal tunnel. Like, yeah, I get you.
How do you set like I feel like it would need some like how many springs do you put in there to
Hmm.
make that tension like manageable?
That's a good question. So anybody watching this podcast, you have any input as well, obviously in the live chat if you're to the premiere or even in comments, like let us know what your thoughts on it are.
Yeah. Yeah. Do it.
Do it.
Do
Do
it.
it.
Do it. Right. So,
um
we wanted to talk about Catalinbread just south of
yes.
me in Portland, which is a place I'll be going at some point this year.
Oh, awesome.
Well, I need to. It's been a while.
Hmm.
Um, they released an entire new look for their two existing formula pedals, the F5, F6, which is like a bassman, and the 55, which is like a tweed. It's called the Formula 51, and it's like the an homage to the tweed champ, which I like champ amps. I have
Yeah.
not played a tweed champ.
I haven't either. I at least know, at least what I saw the research that the 51 was based off of the Fender Tweed Champion 800. My experience though with Catalinbread and their amp sims pedals, I have the dirty little secret and it's like a
Mm.
Marshall stacked. I love this, and this was like one of I play out of a box, so I wanted some other sound beside my
Yeah.
box at the time. And this is a really great sounding pedal. I think I have the version 3 what this one is. There's definitely different iterations and designs. Dirty little secret, inside there is a switch that gives like a super lead and a super bass like kind of tone. So you have a choice of, I guess, the parameters of how you want, I guess, the transistors or the amp sim to kind of simulate the high or low end frequencies of it. But yeah, they have another one. I think it's the Galileo that also does like a Vox style kind of amps in. But these three here are more kind of aimed at the Fender Tweeds in the basement amps. The price
Yeah.
point is really great too because we look at pedal effects pedal inflation and everything is like 200 or above, and this kind of sits
Yeah, these are
relatively decent.
all it's like the 51 and the 5 F6 are 180 new and the
Mm-hmm.
55 is 190
Yeah, like $10
new.
more. Yeah.
Yeah.
The things that I thought were really interesting besides the design, I love the graphics on these. I
I actually
really
do
do like them.
too. They're growing on me. I like the little like
Mhm.
over the LED. There's this like cute little like line drawing. I really like that.
Yeah, and the fact that some of these amp sims give you a lot more control over the original, like the Formula 51, the original, Tweed amp was just a one knob, like volume knob. That's all you got.
Mhm.
Like, so the fact that this gives you like a sag, a gain, along, and a tone
Get a
alongside the
tone.
original volume knob is great, and the sag control to degradation of the transformer to fine tune the expression range and dynamics of the amp sound so it can sound, very like, low end sounding and break up. And then it can also obviously sound clean and have a dynamic range that's more clear
Mhm.
and pronounced sounding. So I thought that was kind of good that you have the amp sound, but they're just giving you a little bit more control over what you want to be pronounced in that.
Yeah, and I was watching Ryan from Demos in the Dark, his video, and he talks
I need to
about
catch
like
that.
depending on the
I
setting, he's
love
like
his.
it can sound like a pedal or
Hmm.
and then you change some settings and it sounds more amp like. And that like that's impressive because
Yeah.
sometimes you get these like amp sem pedals and they just sound like pedals. They just
Yeah.
respond like pedals. Um So it sounds
It
like
sounds like
Catalinbread did a
a
good job with these.
recreation. Yeah, recreation
Yeah.
rather than a believable. And that's one of the things I think when people talk about the UA pedals, in which, oh, it's obviously it sounds like a real amp and it breathes and things like that. To have something
Right.
that does that in such a smaller form factor, and also at an entry point that is good for someone. This is the first time
Mhm.
they're like, oh, that's really cool. I can't obviously get that amp, but in this pedal form, like, hey, this
Mhm.
is a way maybe I can have the sounds like on my board and I can kick all that for certain songs or at certain times just because, I feel like it.
Yeah, for sure. Um, I don't have a lot more to say about them because I think I haven't gotten to play one yet. I might reach out to Joey over there and see if I can get one a demo, but I'm, again, a little
Yeah,
injured
this
and
is
a little behind.
no, of
So,
course. Yeah, so
yeah,
it's this as far as this goes, I was more focusing on the fact that the new design I like of them,
it's
and
nice.
also it's something new from Catalinbread. I mean,
Mhm.
I do
They release a lot,
yeah.
and it's been a
I
I've
like their
liked
graphics sometimes, so that's why I was like,
I
oh wait.
usually like their graphics. I know
Mhm.
that, like, people didn't love, like, the Cloak and Tribute,
Mm.
and I don't know why the phaser name is escaping me. I liked those designs. Like, it's so much about personal taste in terms
Yeah.
of
Oh
designs. I
yeah, of
think that's
course.
why so many manufacturers are doing more limited editions that look a little
Runs,
bit
yeah.
different, because even Callan they have their, Mountain Edition, which includes your Dirty Little Secret. So they have,
Great pedal.
like, really I think these are really attractive, the Mountain Editions. They have the Echo Rec as well, a Cloak, and a Velcoder, and a few others, the Raw.
Yeah, they've done different iterations of their pedals as well, like this Dirty Little Secret. There's a red version of this, which is, I guess, the tonality of it is a little bit different, more like
Mhm.
70s kind of like Marshall like rock. When I was looking at getting one out of the two of them, I chose obviously the original and not the red one. But yeah, sometimes they'll release little limited like flavors of the same pedal
Yeah.
just for people to have something that is obviously like the original, but hey, maybe they want something with a different kind of range.
Yeah, I know, like, that's the thing Earthquaker does a lot too with just, like,
Yeah.
different colors.
Yeah, I
Um,
love the colors.
it's like, I remember when they released the special cranker, a lot of people didn't like that yellowy orange.
Yeah,
And I'm like, I kind like, it stood out, it was nice. I ended
of
up getting a
course.
purple one, and then I gave the one I got from the demo
Let's see,
to,
do I have?
the singer from Jerf. But, like, yeah, I like it when brands have those options. I don't think it's, like, possible for everybody to have limited
No,
edition
let me see
everything.
if I have
Spruce
it.
Effects does a lot of different colors for their, core lineup of effects, like the Gale, which is a great
Yeah,
pedal.
there's the one that I have, which is the Dispatch Master. I have one
Mhm.
that is kind of like bluish purple and mostly like a mustard yellow with like these knobs that look like the old acrylic phones like and the knobs in it, and I normally don't like yellow pedals, but that just version of it, which was special to I think the sound parcel that they made for them specifically that color, and I was like, for some reason I am really drawn to that one. So I'm really glad that they make these kind of like colorways, like even like Old Bloods and Noise Endeavors. I had the original one for my demo, but once they released the banana smoothie, like I got infatuated and I traded my original Sunlight for another pedal. But I got the banana smoothie as the one to be my
Yeah.
Sunlight, and this is the best color for me. Like I literally fell in love with that, and as soon as I saw the color, I was like, "Oh yes, you will be mine. You will be mine."
Yeah, they're
I
another
love
one. They're
her.
they're another company that does, like,
Oh,
I
such
get a little
lovely
I get a little
colorways.
FOMO every once in a while. I'm like,
Yeah. Well,
"Oh,
yeah,
I like that one."
like the new colorway or the colorway that they had around Christmas for the maw. I looked at that and I was like, "Oh, I actually want that I want that color instead of like the one I'm grateful for the one that I have, but I saw that color and I was like,
You're like,
"Oh, I
"Ah."
love that color so much more."
Yeah,
now.
it just happens like that sometimes.
Does.
Yeah.
It be
Well,
like
we
that.
we got a little time left for housekeeping. So,
Mhm.
firstly, I want to say welcome, Philip Lauer, to the Patreon. I just sent you a link to the Discord
Welcome.
server. Everybody out there, we have a Patreon at patreon.com/get offset. And if you donate at the $5 level or above, you get access to our exclusive Discord server. lots of fun conversations. It's very active. It's not
Yeah.
like overwhelmingly active, but it's like
No,
I check
enough
it.
that check it every day and
It's
see
a
what.
good amount of active, I think. It's like I
Yeah.
can handle this amount of
No, of
active.
course. And I like interacting with people directly in kind of like a forum aspect. So I'll chime in, I'll post like I've been listening to more music now. So in the music talk area, I've been posting like albums I'm listening to because that's what I'm doing this year. And other people have started to post their like what they're listening to. And we talk about gear, life too, general, like health, cars. Like, yeah, we have definitely a plethora of channels, and it's really been great to kind of just connect with everyone and
Yeah.
talk and share about life and music. I always love that half.
Yeah, let me give a quick shout out to some of our newer Patreon supporters.
Yeah,
Philip Lauer, NJ, that's Nick, right? Nick.
Nick.
Michael
Right.
Michael Dimitrov. I think that's. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. I've only ever read that word. I've never heard it said out loud.
I
David
think Nate was
Greer.
another one. Yeah,
Nate, not Nick. Sorry,
Nate. Yeah, Nate.
Nate.
That was the one. Yep.
Your real name is not on
No, that was one of the
um,
things I said recently. It was like everyone has different names and different platforms. So I'm like, it's hard for me
yeah.
to remember what your name is everywhere. So I'm sorry. It's hard
Coyote,
sometimes.
Coyote Stardust, Tyler Reese, Robert
Yeah,
McDowell,
no,
Wesley
he's in mine too.
Harden, James, Lojam,
Yeah,
Anthony,
Coyote Stardust is awesome. I like them.
Alex, Demonic Machines. They're at the $1 level. I should just add them anyway to the Discord. Jason, this prank is officially sponsored by Jason Welsh. Jason Welsh. I love Jason's ideas of pranks. It's like giving you $10. I'm like, this is my favorite prank. Speaking of
Jason's
which,
great. Thank
there's
you,
still time
Jason.
to super chat
There's still
if
time.
you want, if you're watching the premiere, or this little donate button below. I prefer the Patreon. That's my favorite way to support the
Yeah,
channel, but I'll accept all
all
support.
forms of support.
Yeah. Holly, Reed, Jeff,
Hey, Holly,
Jason,
Jeff, yeah,
Jordan,
Jason, Jordan,
Brianna,
Nate, everyone, Michael. I'm happy
Joe,
to see everyone and
Russell
have it on.
Heiling, Matt Williams, Stephen Gridley, J. Ryan Conklin, Andrea K, Damian Martinez, Paul Heinberg, Steve Rao, Tom
Damien,
Kelly,
my brother from
you,
another mother in Florida.
Jason Weiser, Jim Burns, Zach
Jason
Hale,
Weiser, yep.
Noah, and our very
Noah,
first Patreon ever, Jason
Tom as well.
Fuzzmonger. I said
Yes,
Tom, yeah.
Fuzzmonger, yeah.
I didn't miss Tom, did I?
Jimmy too, Jim Burns.
Yeah, I
I think
got
who
Jim
else? Yeah, I
too.
think we got quite a few. If we
We got a
forget, it's going
good
off the top of our head. Well, at least my top of my head.
Damien. Why can't I
Yes.
see all the
But yeah,
uh,
I mean, I would definitely say through like 2020, that Discord, I mean, I think we carried each other through all of that and like the subsequent years. Like, I am
mm-hmm.
really grateful for all the friendships that I've gone, at least through that Discord, because they're really some great folks.
Mm-hmm, for sure. Yeah, so what else I got?
Did you say the website,
Oh yeah,
merch,
we have
things
merch at
like that?
getoutsetpodcast.com/shop. Whoever ordered a shirt recently, I hope you love it.
Thank you.
I saw that
Awesome.
go in. I saw that
Yeah.
go in. Yeah. What else I got? Nothing. A lot of
Hmm.
I would like to go eat lunch.
It's a long week. Yeah, it's been a long week,
It's been
so
a
yeah.
long week. This week was weird.
Yeah.
Let's hope that next week's less weird.
Yes, please. Please, a better week. That would be
Give me
lovely.
normal. Give me normal shit.
Give me normal.
Give me
Give me
healing.
normal.
Give me
Let's
healing.
exactly give healing. Walking into the next week slowly. You know, no one gets hurt. No one gets. No one comes for no one. Everybody's like shaking hands and like
Uh,
peace, peace. No, yeah,
peace on earth,
yes.
goodwill toward me specifically. All right. Well, to everybody out there, thanks for watching/listening.
Thanks for understanding.
Until next time, my name is Emily.
I'm Joan of Heart.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.